Hi, I'm Laura from King Thing Marketing, and I'm here to talk to you today about your digital strategy. So I'm going to step you through a couple of things in this presentation. It is a workshop-based one, so you will be provided a worksheet, but I will talk about that a little bit later on. So I'm really lucky to be here today because of the Department of State Growth's Digital Ready program. The Digital Ready program has been designed for Tasmanian small businesses for you to be able to access resources and coaches to help you with your business. At the moment, we have updated the website with a COVID-19 fact sheet. We also have resources like this video for you to access. If you haven't already, take the time to go and look at the website. You will also find some of the other things that we always have on the website. So that includes our Digital Ready Checkup tool. It also includes the other resources such as podcasts, there's fact sheets, so much more. So definitely go and have a look at the website. The other thing that the Digital Ready program enables you to do is to access 2 hours free coaching with any mentor in the state. If you visit the Digital Ready website, it will have a page called Coaches where you can scroll through and read about the different coaches that are on offer and choose the one that you want to work with. Each of us have different capabilities, so it may be worth having a look at each one and seeing which one works best for you at this time. As part of this, we also have a new number that you can contact, and this hotline will enable you to connect with a digital coach straight away. At this time, we are only doing the digital coaching via Zoom meetings, but we promise you that the technology is great. You're able to share the screen. We can see you face to face if you have video capability to access on your computer or a phone, but it does make it really easy, and we can share our screen so we can still teach you at the full capacity, such as how we did when we were face to face. It's an excellent resource, and I would highly recommend everybody taking it up at this time. So my name is Laura. For those of you who don't know me, I work for King Thing Marketing. We are a marketing agency based in Launceston, and I'm super fortunate because I get to do what I love every day in an agency that is pretty great to work for. So here at King Thing, we do a number of different things. So we build websites, we manage social media accounts, we write marketing strategy, and we do graphic design, and so much more. So if you've never heard of us, jump on our website and have a look. So what I'm going to cover today is how to build a marketing plan in your workplace. So we're going to go through how to define your goals, define your target market, find channels to reach your market effectively, develop a budget, implement your strategy, and how to measure and analyze your strategies. As part of this, you are going to have a worksheet. So this worksheet will be downloadable on the website as well as this video program, and you can access it on the Digital Ready website. It will look just like this. It's a couple of pages to help step you through what I'll be talking about today. If you like, follow along with this, because I will have slides throughout the presentation that will tell you to stop and fill out a certain section. When you get to those points, it may be worth pausing the video and then completing that section on the worksheet before continuing on, just in case you want to remember what you're doing at that point in time and not to forget what we've just been talking about. So I'm going to give you some examples first of how not to market your business. So that one's probably one of my favorites. There is a Starbucks one. Just need to really think about when you put signage on a vehicle, how it might be displayed, especially if it's on a van like that. It's not the first time I've seen a business have issues like that. So as you can see, it is super important to plan for your business. We work in a space where if you don't plan, you're pretty much setting yourself up to fail. So as a business, you might have a business plan, but it's also important to have a marketing plan. I read a stat the other day that 70% of marketers who have a plan are more likely to achieve their goals that they've set out for the year than those who do not plan at all. So it is really important that when it comes to marketing, we do take it seriously and we look at our goals of our business and we look at what we're trying to achieve, but also turn it into how can we achieve that in a marketing perspective. So I now have a video that I'm going to play that tells you a little bit more about why it is important to plan. It's a really great resource. I got it from HubSpot. So if you are looking for this resource or you're looking for other resources to use, HubSpot is a great program to use. It has so many things for you to access, and most of them are free. They do have some paid programs, but the blog on there is an excellent resource for you to use, especially during this time when you might have a little bit more free time to spend on your marketing in your business.
As the VP of Marketing, I had it all figured out. I could execute on any marketing plan sales handed to me, no matter how complex. So when my CEO called me into his office to discuss our strategy for the next 18 months, I was ready to get started on the next big thing. He outlined 2 complex plans and asked, "Can you pull off both?" I reassured him, "Yeah, of course we can do that." He paused for a long, agonizing minute, and then the yelling began. "Executing both of these strategies would put us out of business. You don't have a clue about what the purpose of marketing is. All you're doing is executing a series of tasks like they're a big to-do list. You're dangerous as the head of marketing." Well, the case can be made that my CEO is a jerk. He did challenge me. I was doing a lot of marketing things, but why was I doing them? The truth is, most companies don't have a strategy. They view strategy as a set of performance metrics and goals. But strategy doesn't just define what you do. It's as much about what you don't do. According to Richard Rumelt, a strategy requires 3 key elements. First, a diagnosis that defines the challenge. It's a realistic understanding of the current state of the business and market. Second, a guiding policy for dealing with the challenge. A policy directs action while also ruling out other approaches. And third, it's a set of coherent actions to accomplish the policy. This is how you overcome the complexity and conflict that plagues most companies. So, let's say an e-commerce company finds that its monthly sales are falling. They decide to focus on improving the average cart price. They make a plan to set a dollar threshold for free shipping and add a related items module to product pages. While simple, the example defines the problem, clarifies direction, and outlines the key action. Marketing's role is to help accomplish the strategy, to come up with tactical executions and test hypotheses. But the strategy is the North Star. It's the foundation for building a plan that is both focused and achievable.
So that just explains a little bit more about why it is important to have a plan. If we have too many plans in place, it can get a little bit confusing and we don't know what we want to achieve. And we also want to make sure that we only have the one plan so that everybody's on the same page within the business. If we're not on the same page, we could be trying to achieve different goals from different angles, and sometimes it can get a little bit messy. There can be loss of income because we're trying to do too much at once. So we need to stick together and work together to achieve those goals for that marketing plan. So what I'm going to do now is step you through the first part of the worksheet. So the first part is around your situational analysis. So as a business, you need to think about where you've been, where you are now, and where you are going. It's really important to reflect as a business on these things, because if we don't do this, we won't grow as a business. And especially at the moment, it's a little bit of a tough one because where we are now might not be where we were a couple of weeks ago. But if we think about where we were even a couple of weeks ago to where we want to be in the future, so that if something like this was to ever happen again, which we don't hope for, we want to make sure that we're set up to be able to help ourselves as a business during that time. So what I want you to do is to think about where your business has been, but where you want it to go in a longer sense. So for today's workshop, because we can't do it face-to-face anymore and we don't have that time to interact and take the audience's questions, what I've done for you is I've prepared a demo example to be able to show you what I would have done for the worksheet if I was a business. So I've created a mock business called Digi Gifts and Homewares, and I'm going to step you through each bit of the sheet as how you should complete it. It will obviously differ from business to business, and things might be a little bit longer than the space that's provided on the worksheet, but the worksheet is just set up as a guide for you to have a think about with your business. So I'm going to go through the first one around our situational analysis. So looking back, our business started in 2015 as a bricks and mortar retail store stocking gifts and homewares. Right now, we are a bricks and mortar store with a website that doesn't have an online shop for customers to shop with. We have a small coffee shop that's adjoined to our business, so we wanted to diversify a couple of years ago to encourage people to come into our retail site. So we thought if we had a cafe there, that they would like to come in and visit and shop with us because they can have the ultimate experience when they're with us. So then we're going to look into the future. And so when we're looking at the future, we want to be able to serve our customers 24/7. So we want to have an operational online site that allows customers to purchase our products. We still want to keep our retail site open for those who want to come in and visit us, but we want to provide our customers with the option to shop with us online, just in case they can't come into our store. So now what I want you to do is to look at your worksheet and fill in your situational analysis. I want you to think about where you've been, where you are now, and where you are going. And especially with that where you are going, thinking about the fact that what if something like this pandemic was to happen again? What would you do differently if you had the time to plan for it? We're then going to look at our goals as a business. So our goals are really important for us to understand what we want to achieve as a business. I said earlier that you might have a business plan that has goals, and business plan goals might look like things like drive more sales, grow brand awareness, expand your market share, diversify your product range, enter new markets or territories, reach new audiences or demographics, raise more revenue, secure funding, and increase your profits. So as a business, you will have set these goals already, and you may not have them written down, but you know them in the back of your mind that this is what you want to achieve as a business. Now you might think when you have those business goals that that's fine, that they're my marketing goals as well. No, they're not. So a marketing goal is a little bit different. So some marketing goals examples may be increase your website traffic, gain more social media followers, grow an email list, improve conversion rates, get more website or social media engagement, drive more click-throughs on paid ads. Now the reason that these goals are slightly different is because these marketing goals help us achieve those business goals that we're aiming for. So they're a little bit more specific. And the way that we do that is we go and we write what we know as SMART goals. So SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-based goals. So these goals allow us to think about what direction we want our goal to be. We want it to be detailed and meaningful. We want our goal to be quantifiable to track our progress or success, which has become a lot easier in the marketing realm. So we have so many options now in our digital landscape to track our data so much better. Your goal needs to be realistic. If you don't set a realistic goal for your business, no one's ever going to achieve it. And so we want to make sure that we can set goals that actually can be achieved by you and your team. And you also need to have the tools and resources to be able to do it. You can't set a goal that needs a really large budget if you don't have a large marketing budget. It would be nice if we all had endless amounts of cash, but I know that most of us don't because we are a small business. So we need to make sure that whenever we set our goal, it is actually achievable for the budget that we have in place. Your goal also needs to align with your company mission. This mission might be even evident through your values as a business. So what you stand for is really important. So you need to make sure that that is even inherent within your business goals and therefore your marketing goals as well. And your goal needs to have a deadline. There's no point setting a goal if you have no intention of actually achieving it by a certain date. We need something to drive us as people, and by putting a date in there, it means that we are more likely to try and achieve that goal by that deadline. Sometimes deadlines have to shift due to unforeseen circumstances, and I guess COVID-19 can be a good one for that. But it's also a great time for us to be able to sit back as a business and think, okay, I've had this goal set for a while now. This is my quiet time. I can achieve this goal now so that when things go back to being operational to a full level, I'll be able to smash this out of the park and have everything ready to go. So some things to consider when you are writing your SMART goals. So you need to think about what action you want people to take from that particular goal. And you want to make sure that your platform that you're using suits that goal. So I will talk about that a little bit later on when I get to the platform section, but they're just some things that I wanted you to make sure you were aware of. So for our example of DigiGifts and Homewares, we've set 3 goals. So those goals are by the 30th of June 2020, we want to have built a website with a fully functional online shop. Our second goal is we want to have a mailing list enabled on that website. So currently our current website doesn't have the ability to link to sign up subscribers to our website, so we're not able to reach people who might not pop into the shop or follow us on social media. So we want to make sure that we can reach them by having a mailing list. And so we've decided that we want to aim to have 2,000 people signed up to this by the 31st of December 2020. Our third goal is we're a little bit inconsistent when it comes to social media, and we want to make sure at this particular time our users are engaged with us and following our page to learn what's happening within our business. So our aim is to regularly post 4 times a week on social media. So we're going to aim to post 2 times a week on Facebook and 2 times a week on Instagram. And that's just to ensure that our algorithm is being consistently looked after, so that Facebook and Instagram are more likely to push our posts out to our followers when we do post critical information. So what I'm going to get you to do now is I want you to stop and I want you to fill in your top 3 goals for your business. I want you to think about what your business goals are for the year, and I want you to think about how they can turn into marketing goals, and more specifically those SMART goals that I was talking about earlier. So now we're going to talk through your why. So your why is super important as an individual and a business as to why you do what you do. Each of us have our own personal why. So our own personal why might be to make money or to put bread and butter on the table for our kids. It might be because we really enjoy what we do. But each business also has its own why. It's the why we do what we do. Here at King Thing, our why is we believe in your business. So everything that we do revolves around that why. So every decision that we make, we go back to our why and think, does that revolve around why we believe in your business? If it doesn't, we wouldn't do it. So it is really important that you understand what is your why as a business. And it's also important that you communicate that why to your other team members or staff within that business, so that they also understand what the why is, so that they can help you achieve the goals that you're trying to achieve. So there is a little bit of a method, I guess, that comes around this why. So it was developed by Simon Sinek, and I'm going to play the video to you in a moment. So it's from a TED Talk. Now I've only got the 5-minute version, not the full 18-minute version, but if you do have time, I would recommend going back and watching it, because it is a really great resource and a really great video. You will notice that it is slightly old, but the concept is still true to this day. So it is really a great resource for you to access and use. But I'm just going to step you through a little bit about that why now. So the why looks at the thing called the golden circle. So the golden circle is made up of layers. So it's made of the what, how, and why. So what every organisation on the planet knows what they do. These are the products that we sell or the services that we offer. We all know how we do it. So we should know how we do it anyway. So these are the things that set us apart from our competition. So it could be that we offer a service that nobody else does. We could do it with a friendly attitude, for example. But why do we do it? And that's where it's really important to understand why is what we do really important to our business decisions, important to achieving our goals. So it's not about making the money, it's a result, it's the purpose, it's our belief, it's the core of everything that we do. So I'm going to let you watch the video now, because it definitely explains it a lot better than I just did, and it uses a really good example that we can all relate to.
I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. When we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. Sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right, because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal?
So now I'm going to take it back a little bit further, and I'm going to look at what our why is in this case example. So Digi Gifts and Homewares, our why is we want homes across Tasmania to look fabulous at an affordable price. So everything that we do, we will make sure that it revolves around that why. So when we're buying in product, we want to make sure that it makes homes look fabulous, but it's not too expensive for people to afford. If we're looking at employing staff, we want our staff to understand that they need to be a little bit fabulous in themselves, but they need to believe that what we sell is affordable, that it's not expensive for everybody to purchase. So have a think now about what your why is and why you exist as a person, and then why you exist as a business. And once you have that why written down, you can continue on with the rest of this presentation. So now we're going to talk about target markets. Now, target markets is really important to understand who we are trying to sell our product or service to. And at the moment, this might feel a little bit different to what it used to look like. And that's probably a good time for us to sit back and reflect and think about how we might have more than one target market. So as a business, you may have a primary target market, you might have a secondary target market, and you might have tertiary target markets. But each target market needs to be specifically defined. It's all well and good saying we serve everybody, but it's just not realistic. And it makes it a lot harder for us to achieve our marketing goals because we don't know what goal relates to what target audience and who we're actually speaking to. So when we are looking at defining our target markets, we need to make sure that we look at our demographics of that target market. So we need to look at things such as age, location, gender, income level, education level, marital and family status, occupation, and ethnic background. The other thing that we need to look at is the psychographics. So these are the things such as personality, attitudes, values, interests and hobbies, lifestyles, and specific behaviours that those types of individuals would have. The reason we want to look at all of those things is it makes us easier to understand where they're spending time, therefore what platforms they could be using, and where we should spend our money and invest in marketing activity. Now I'm going to take you through an example that was from one of the Helix personas. So if you've looked at the Helix personas before, they have certain different groups of people that you can engage with as a target market, but they also have these really specific characters that they've created. So in this example, we're looking at Sarah. And what they have done is they've gone and created Sarah as if she was a real person living in today's society. And so they've written down the day in the life of Sarah, what her background is, what finances that she might have, what her online behaviours are, what she's looking for in life. So that might be from her values or what she's looking for in another person, who influences her. So what makes her tick and get out of bed in the morning, some brands that she aligns with, her hopes and dreams, her worries and fears, and what makes her life easier. It is a really great example of how in-depth you can go with a target market. We're not going to go that in-depth today, but it is something to think about. If you analyse and create, I guess, a persona like they have with Sarah, you can really understand your target market at every move. So you can understand the way they think, the way they sleep, the way they eat. So you know the times when they're going to be wanting to see different things or when they're going to be sound asleep. So if you do have the time, I would encourage you to go back and have a look at this slide and think about your target market even further in depth than we're going to look at them today. So in our example for DigiGifts and Homewares, our target market would look ideally like this. So we've got an age range of 25 to 50. When you are thinking about age range, try and keep it really narrow. It's easy enough to say 20 to 55 or 20 to 70, but unfortunately that isn't always the case. We want to look at the fact that some of these people probably don't have money, so if we take that into a fact, we're going to probably want to start at 25. So for us, we've decided 25 to 50 is who we want to aim our market at. Specifically, it is going to be more of a female market in the homeware shop. So our location, we've got a location of Tasmania. So we've got a particular focus in Launceston currently because that's where our retail site is. But with the hopes of going online with a website, we want to really target the Hobart market because we know that there are a lot of people that are female that fit into the 25 to 50 age bracket. We know that these people probably earn an income of around 70 plus a year. So we know that they've got a bit of a disposable income to spend on homewares, but they probably don't want to spend all of their money buying really expensive stuff because they potentially have children. So I think I've skipped ahead now to the family structure. So we believe that these people are probably married with at least 2 kids. So they want nice things, but they've got to make sure that they have money to give the kids what they want as well. Their education status, so they would have completed year 12, possibly gone on to get a university degree as well. Where do they work? So they work in professional business roles, and that's why they would have an education degree at university and be earning the salary that they are earning. Some details about their job. So they're probably in a high stress role. They might be in a management or a supervisor role where they're in charge of a lot of people. So something like shopping in a homewares shop can seem quite relaxing to them. Some details about their lifestyle. So they enjoy Instagram. They like to scroll through that on their weekends or in the 5 minutes of spare time they get when the kids go to bed. They love to shop locally, so they want to make sure that the money stays here in Launceston or Hobart, and they like to cook with local produce. So they really do enjoy cooking at home, but they want to make sure that they're using fresh local produce, that they know where it's grown and how it's grown. Some of the goals and challenges. So they want to have nice things, but they hate not being at all of the kids' events. So what I mean by that is that they really want to have nice things in their house to show off to their friends and family members, but they also hate the fact that they work all the time, and so they miss out on some of those events that kids have. So that comes to my next factor, values and fears. So they've got a fear of missing out, so that comes with that fear of missing out on your kids' events, but they've also got that fear of missing out when it comes to trends that are happening in the world. So they probably watch shows like House Rules or The Block, and they see what's in style at the moment, and then they think, oh, I need to have that too, to make sure that I'm pretty cool and trendy within my friend group. And their elevator pitch, so they're fun, vibrant and modern. So now what I want you to do is I want you to think about your target market. So on the particular worksheet that you have, it only has space for one target market, but it might be worth turning over to the back of your worksheet and thinking about other target markets that you have. Especially at this time, you are going to be focusing on a really localized target market. So perhaps given the circumstances at the moment, it is going to be really important to make sure that your primary target market is a localized market. If this hasn't been your market currently, it might be something different, and it might be a bit different to how you would normally write your personality description of your persona of who you want to target. But have a think about what that ideal person is in your local target market that you could reach effectively. So now we're going to have a look at budget. Now everybody's budget is going to be different depending on how much revenue your business makes and how much you want to actually spend on marketing. As a general rule of thumb, most businesses spend around 10 to 12% on marketing within their business. In saying that, if you are a new business or just starting out, you might spend around 20% of marketing in your first year. Or alternatively, if you have been forecasting to do something really major from a marketing perspective, like building a new online website, you might have allowed for that year to have a particular increase in the marketing budget. But it is really going to depend on what you can afford to do at that time. And keep in mind that a lot of the things that we can do from a marketing realm now is able to be done by ourselves at a cheaper cost than what it used to be when we used traditional methods such as radio, newspaper and television. So in our example, what I've done is I've come up with a total budget. I've then also broken down that budget into different areas of where we want to spend that money for the year. You don't have to do it that way, but what it allows you to do is year on year, you can compare how much you spent in that area, and then you've got a good understanding of where you should allocate your budget in future years, or where you can have those extra resources if you did have grants come in, or if you sought assistance from elsewhere. So in our budget, we've got a total of $20,000. We're going to spend about $8,000 on a new website. So we received a couple of quotes from different people, and we know that it's going to be around $8,000. So we're going to allocate that much to it. We're then going to spend around $3,000 on social media advertising. We've already used it previously, but we've bumped it up a little bit because we know once the website's live, we're going to want to advertise the fact that you can shop online with us. For events, we've allocated $3,500. Prior to this, we didn't have an events column, but we wanted to add it in because when the website goes live, we wanted to have a launch event party. We wanted to spend $500 on collateral, so that's just for our in-house marketing, so we can buy stickers for the shop. We needed a new sign to go on our A4 frame, so we've allocated that into that cost. Website SEO, so we want to spend around $1,500 making sure that our website's SEO to the full capacity so that when people are looking up homewares and gifts Tasmania, that our website ranks on the first page so people will click through to it. We're going to spend another $3,000 on Google Ads. We haven't done this previously, but we know that with a new website, if we spend money on Google Ads and we've spent money on the SEO, it's more likely to boost that up to a front page ranking, and we've just got that advice from a digital coach that we spoke to. And car signage. So we know that one of us has a new vehicle and we need to update the car signage, so we've allocated a $500 budget for that. So now what I'm going to get you to do is fill in your budget. Now don't be scared, you might not have an idea of how much you want to spend, especially at the moment, but just put a number down because any number is better than having no number. So even if you start off smaller, you can always increase that number over time, but it is important to have a budget in place if you can. So now I'm going to talk you through the different tactics of how you can achieve your goals. So tactics are the things that you will implement to reach your goals. They are realistic things that you can achieve. They always have direction, and they are at the center of everything that you do in a marketing perspective. The tactics should be achievable and measurable. So a lot of the time our tactics result back to those SMART goals, and we've kind of set them out already, but I'm just going to show you an example of what some of those tactics might be. So this is a tactical spreadsheet, and we have listed here each of the different tactics that you might use within your business. So I'm just going to name a couple of them. So you might want to create a manageable monthly newsletter. You might want to complete a content plan with all of your different channels so you are communicating to each of them all the time. You want to undertake a brand redesign, so you might want to get a new logo, letterhead, signage. So all of those different things are a type of tactic that you can help achieve your goal. So as part of that tactic list, you're also then going to be able to have a list of about 40 different tactics that helps achieve those goals. So sometimes we might have a goal and it's broken down into about 5 steps, and those 5 steps would be considered a tactic to achieve that goal. As well with that, you might also have a priority of which goal comes first as a tactic. So on a spreadsheet, you might have a think about what number priority it is, what target market it suits, how much you want to spend on that particular tactic. So you can turn it into a rather large document if you wish. In today's example, we're going to just take it to a simple format. So we're just going to look at what the tactics are that result to our 3 goals that we've picked. So in the example of DigiGifts and Homewares, for our first tactic, so if you go back to our goals, it was to build a website. We want to create a new website with an online shop of all our products. So that's our tactic. Our second goal, or our second tactic, is to run a paid social media campaign to increase our mailing list. So if you remember back to our second goal was around creating a mailing list of 2,000 people. By running that social media ad, we know that we'll be able to encourage new people to sign up to our mailing list and be able to reach that goal more effectively. Our third tactic is to create a content plan. So this plan will include all social media channels, timing, and content categories to ensure regular posting across the platform. So again, that results back to our goal of wanting to be regular with our posting at least 4 times a week. So that's how they can result. So there's a little bit of a difference between a goal and a tactic. So I just wanted to do this example so that you can kind of see in a more clearer, concise way. So what I'm going to get you to do now is I'm going to get you to look at your goals again, and then I want you to think about what tactics you need to do to achieve that goal. And as I said, you might have more than one tactic to help you achieve that goal. For our example, I've tried to keep them really simple to show you how it would be done. But for example, with the website one, I might have something like as a tactic, purchase the domain name, find a person to help me build the website, pick a platform I want to use to build the website on, write the content for the website. All of those different things are tactics. So you can either write different tactics for each goal, or you can just choose one tactic for each goal that will help you achieve what you're trying to do. So now we're going to look at what platforms you should be using as a business to help you achieve those goals. So So whenever we're looking at platforms, it is really important to think about those target markets that we've written down. So the reason that we did our target markets earlier and a little bit of understanding about what channels they might use or things that they do in their lifestyle helps us decide what platforms we should be doing our marketing on. Some examples of platform ideas, so you might use things like a website, it might be social media channels such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. You might use things like YouTube. You might use a MailChimp program for your email newsletter. It might be Google Ads, SurveyMonkey if you want to send out surveys, online magazines, blogs. All of these things are different platforms that we can use to help achieve our goals. For the example of DigiGifts and Homewares, the platforms that we're going to use to help achieve those goals. So the first one is we're going to use Squarespace to build the website. Our second tactic for social media advertising, we know we want to do that on Facebook because our audience spends more time on Facebook. And with that particular one of building the mailing list, unfortunately we can't do it on Instagram as of yet, so we know that we're just going to use Facebook at this time. For our third tactic around posting more consistently, we know that our audience use Facebook and Instagram predominantly, so we're going to make sure that we're posting on those channels. We're also going to look at using Pinterest as well because we know that it's growing, and especially in the interior design space, it's an important channel to be a part of. So now I'm going to get you to think about what platforms you will use to achieve your goals. So as I said, make sure you think about your target audience, where you know they're spending time, or think about programs that you know that are around that suit your marketing budget. So for example, MailChimp has a free program that you can use. So if you are wanting to build a mailing list, MailChimp might be the way to go. If you know you have a higher budget for something, you might think of a paid platform that you've heard of before that you could use to achieve that goal. So have a think about all of those different things and write down your platforms that you want to use. Who can help you? So there's a couple of people that might be able to help you, and it is a little bit difficult if you are a small business where you're the only person who works in it, because you have to be a bit of a jack of all trades and wear so many different hats all the time. But where you can, try and seek help as often and as best that you can. So some other examples of where you can receive help from. So you might want to receive them from a co-worker or a business partner if you have one. You might want to ask a work employee to help do a certain task and another work employee to do something, and then get them to work together to achieve the goal. You might even hire a marketing agency. So there's marketing agencies around Tasmania and even Australia that will be able to help you achieve the goals that you're trying to reach. And lastly, access things like the Digital Ready program. This enables you to have that 2 hours free coaching every year where you can learn great things that might help you achieve your goal that you're trying to. So think about other resources that are out there like the Digital Ready program that you can secure as a business and use. So for our example, we're going to relate it back to each tactic now because it makes it a little bit easier to follow along. So for our first tactic on the website, we're going to hire a marketing agency because we know we don't have the skills to build that website. We don't have the time, and we really want to make sure it's done right and done now. So we're going to hire a marketing agency to do that. So we've gone and got our quotes and we're ready to go with that. Our second tactic, we know a little bit about social media advertising because we've done it before, but we've never done it to build a mailing list. So we want to learn how to use that skill, and we could go to something like YouTube or Instagram TV and learn how to do it. But what we thought we would do is we would get our 2 hour free coaching session with a Digital Ready coach, and we would get them to teach us how to do a paid social ad for a mailing list. And our third tactic, so we want to create a content plan that's full of different and unique ideas. So we want to brainstorm with the entire team that works for us. Even if they are just a casual that works a couple of hours on a Saturday or a Sunday for us, they might have really great ideas because they're working and they're living and breathing in the social media space. So anybody that is part of your team can help build that capability into that content plan. So we're going to use everybody in our team to put together that plan to make sure that we have a good idea of what we want to post on social media. So now what I want you to do is I want you to think about who will help you. Maybe write down some things like the digital ready coaching. Maybe write down that you're going to search what other programs are out there that can help me. Maybe think about even friends or family that might have skills or expertise in this area that you could ask for a listening ear from. Now we're going to talk about the time. So as we know, we are very time poor people. At the moment, we might find we have a little bit more time because we're spending a lot more time at home. But it is really important that we understand how long it's going to take to do something so we can make sure that we achieve it by the deadline that we have set. So you need to think about how much time do you realistically have to spend on this activity? How much time are you willing to spend on this activity? And what I want you to do is I want you to think about everything in your life and think about how much you really want to achieve that goal by that deadline as well. That's going to make your decision a lot easier. If you need to spend a lot of hours on something, you're more willing to probably sacrifice hours elsewhere to achieve that goal. Now, please remember there is no right or wrong answer to how long you spend on your marketing. It is literally going to depend on your business and your capability to be able to fit the time in. So in our example, we are going to spend a total of 8 hours on general marketing every week. That's what we've set as a business. That's our goal, that's our dream. Some weeks we might not achieve that, some weeks we might go over that, but that's our dream goal. We want to spend 8 hours a week doing marketing. What we've also done is we've broken it down to each of the areas of tactics that we're trying to achieve. So for the website, our marketing agency has told us that we need to provide the content. So we know in order to probably get that content written, it's going to take us around 10 hours. We also want to make sure that we have really nice imagery on the website. So we're going to spend around 15 hours making sure we have nice images and we've written great blurbs for customers to be able to understand what that product is. If it's a piece of furniture, we want to make sure we have the correct measurements for them to see. Social media ads. So we've used it as part of our strategy before. We have an idea of how long it takes us to write an ad now. And to make sure that they're effective, we want to make sure we allocate 2.5 hours per month to do those social ads. So whether we break that time up out of that 8 hours and do half an hour each week is up to us, or we might use 2.5 hours just in 1 week of that 8 hours. And lastly, we know that for social media, we're going to use about 1.5 hours every week to complete that and make sure that we've scheduled our posts ready to go as per our content plan to help us achieve our goal. So I want you to think about now how much time you have to spend on your marketing, and then maybe even think about how much time you think it will take to achieve those tactics that you've set. Now we're going to look at your competitors. So understanding who your competitors are and what they're doing is going to help you understand as a business where you want to be in the marketplace. At the moment, it's going to be really important to think about your competitors locally, and we will have competitors on the mainland, but it is really important that we understand who our local competitors are as well, so that when people are going out into the place at the moment and they want to spend locally, they're going to come to us over them. So I want you to think about who your direct and indirect competitors are. I want you to find gaps in the marketplace. So maybe they might do something and someone else might do something different. So what can you do differently that fits in the middle of those two competitors? And I want you to define what sets you apart as a business. So what makes you different? What makes you unique, special, and makes customers want to come and spend their money with you over them? So in the example of Digi Gifts and Homewares, we've also created some mock competitors. So we didn't want to name businesses around, so we've created some very funny and unique names. So we've got Brew and Chew Cafe. So they're a hole-in-the-wall coffee shop with takeaway food options like sandwiches, chai puddings, and sushi. So for us, they're a competitor because they also have a cafe like we do in our retail site. They might get people to them because they make more delicious food than what we possibly do, because that's their core focus, where we also focus on selling homewares. Our second competitor is Living Luxe Homewares. So they're only located a few streets over, so they're in close proximity. They stock a huge range of furniture and accessories like lampshades, cushions, and artwork. So very similar product range to us. Possibly the main difference from them to us is that our price is a little bit more affordable for the everyday consumer, where they have a little bit of a higher price point. Our third competitor, Cupboards and Cups. So they're located about 45 minutes away, but they have a very similar offering with Digi in the fact that they sell small furniture, mugs and giftware. They have the same price point as us. They also have a coffee van on site during operating hours. So very aligned to what we're doing. So what makes people want to go to them over coming to us where we might be located 45 minutes away from that target market? So now that you have an understanding of who your competitors are and you've done an analysis of their business, understanding what they might sell, where they're located, what makes them similar to what you're doing, I want you to now think about what do you do that is differently? So what is your point of difference? Is there enough market share for all of you to be in business? What can you do differently that might set you apart from the rest of them? And how might you do things differently now that you know you might be very similar to all of them? Do you have a secret talent or secret business that you could diversify into that might make you stand out a little bit more? Or what could you do better? So it's all well and great, we hear it a lot saying, I offer better customer service. But why do you offer better customer service? How can you do it better than somebody else? So explain exactly why your customer service is better in a lot greater detail. That'll help you understand your differentiation. So what I want you to do now is I want you to think about who your competitors are, and I also then want you to write down what makes you different and makes you stand out from those competitors. So now we're going to look at reporting. So one of the great things about digital marketing is that we have access to a whole range of different reports. We can look at different facts and figures, and we can compare to see if something's working or if it's not working. Back in the day, if you used something like newspaper or television, you were provided with very broad numbers, and you didn't really know if they related to your business, to another business, if it really meant somebody was seeing your ad or not. With the digital technology that we have, we can see if it's really working in our businesses. So it's important to understand what channels you can use to complete that reporting. So I'm going to step you through a couple of the ones that I recommend making sure that you have access to and that you're checking on a regular basis. So the first one is Google Analytics. So if you have a website, make sure that you set up Google Analytics. It's a free tool to have access to. All you need is a Gmail account. The great thing with Google Analytics is it tracks so much data for us. So it tells us who's on our website live, it tells us who's visited our website, where they're coming from, so by age, geographic location, and it will drill that geographic location by state, city, suburb. So it has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to those sort of things. It also will tell us what our bounce rate is like, if we're running any paid campaigns through social media or Google Ads, if the people are actually clicking through to our website, how long they're spending on our website, and what pages they're visiting. So as I said, it provides a wealth of knowledge about our website and what our traffic is doing. So if you don't have it already, I would highly recommend that you go and download Google Analytics right now and start looking at that data, because it is going to make a massive difference to you, especially at this time. So another place that you can go to look at data is your Facebook Insights. So Facebook Insights provide us a lot of different things for us to go and look at when it about our business page on Facebook. Now in this example, I've taken a screenshot from the Insights directly from our business page, but I do just want to note out that you might find that you have to go through to your business manager or your creator studio to access your Insights now. Everybody's Facebook page is changing, and unfortunately it's just going to be different for everybody at this time. Eventually Facebook will want us all to be over on things like Business Ads Manager or the Creator Studio to look at these insights. Why it's important to go look at your insights on Facebook is you can get a little bit of an understanding about what content is working, what time works better for you to post to your audience, how many people have started following your page this month or this week. You can see if your videos are getting a higher performance. There's so much information that you can collate through your Facebook Insights, so it is very well worth having a look at. The other thing is to make sure that you do it really regularly. So unlike Google Analytics, where it tracks your data all over time and you can go back and access the history, with Facebook Insights, it only holds at most 28 days worth of data. So make sure that you add it as part of your weekly schedule when you are scheduling your 1.5 hours worth of social posts to go and check your Facebook insights. Now, something that I do want to make a little bit of a note around is that vanity metrics that we get from Facebook. So if you've run a campaign and you've gotten 100 likes from it and you've got 50 new followers to it, that's all well and great, but are they going to turn into sales? We don't know. So just take those metrics with a little bit of a grain of salt attitude, and you can say, oh yes, I've got 100 likes on that page today or that post, but make sure that it doesn't become your core focus when you're looking at the data. So similar to Facebook insights, there are also insights on Instagram. In this screenshot, I've got the Creator Studio that I was just talking about, where you can also access your Facebook insights. This isn't as in-depth as your normal Instagram insights, but it definitely provides an overview similar to what you would see on Facebook insights. If you want to drill down even further with your Instagram insights, visit your actual Instagram page on your mobile app, and you can drill down to each post's insight or your total page insight. Again, the data only lasts 28 days, although individual post data will always be available for you to access. So another great tool for you to go and access data from and report on. So in our example, we want to think about where we can go and report different data from so that we know if our marketing goals are working or if we're just not even getting close to achieving them. So we want to report monthly. As I said, it's going to depend on your business and the time that you have. So you might only report bi-monthly, you might report weekly, you might report 6 monthly. Completely up to you and how much you want to really look at that data and statistics. I've also broken into down to what we're going to look at when we're looking at those reports. So it's all well and good going and looking at those reports, but you want to understand what you're really looking for when you are going through them. So thinking about our goals, we're going to make sure that we look at how many people have visited the website. So when it is live, we want to make sure that we have 100 visits per month. So we're going to use those Google Analytics to check that we're getting 100 visits per month to that site. When we do our social media ad around gaining a new mailing list, we want to make sure that that ad has reached over 10,000 people per campaign. If we're not doing that, then we need to make sure we tweak something in the ad to help us achieve that goal. And lastly, we're going to look at how much engagement we're getting on posts so that we can check that the content that we're posting and posting regularly is working for us and we can start to see a change and increase of traffic. So now I want you to think about how often you'll report, what channels you might go to report. And I also want you to write a note there if you do have a website and you haven't got Google Analytics set up, to write a note there to say, I'm going to go set up Google Analytics. So now we're going to look at the key dates. Now when we did set up our SMART goals at the start, we would have put a date around our goals, but it is also important to think about key dates or milestones that we might use to achieve those goals. So as well as having our main goal being achieved by that date, some of our mini tactics might need goals set as well or key dates around them. It's super important to track the time around how long it takes to achieve a goal so that if we were to set a goal in the future, we can make sure that we have a realistic understanding of how long it will take us to achieve that. With our case study, we've gone and put our goals around what we want to achieve. So as you can see, you'll have our main goals that relate to our specific SMART goals, but we've also got some review dates of when we want to check in to make sure that we're achieving what we need to by those dates. So we're going to do a fortnightly check-in with Facebook and Instagram insights to check that we are doing the right thing on social media, that our content is changing. We're also going to do monthly check-ins on the mailing list. And we're going to make sure that our strategy for growing next month is resulted from whatever has happened in that month to make sure that we're pushing hard to reach that goal of 1,000 people. And lastly, with our website, so as I was talking about earlier, you might have different tactics. So the first one, we want to make sure that we've registered our domain by the end of this week. We want to have a layout and a sitemap done by the 10th of April. And we want to have our content written by the 20th. We then want to make sure that our images are done by the 1st, and we want to have a first draft of the website done by the end of May. So it's going to make sure that we achieve that June deadline that we're looking for. So now you're going to go and write some of your key dates around what you're trying to achieve. So now we've reached the end of our presentation today, and so I just want to say that you might have achieved a mini marketing strategy today, but you might have little bits of information that's still missing or still not clear in your mind if you understand exactly what you want to do in that particular space. So from here, it's really important to think about other resources that are available to you through the Digital Ready program. So as I spoke about earlier, we have the website with a range of resources available to you, but it's probably also the perfect time to enable that 2-hour free coaching session that you have on offer. So the way that you can access that again is to call the hotline number that's on the screen, or to visit the Digital Ready website on the Digital Coaches page, find the coach that you want to work with, and then email or book through their booking system. We really want to help small businesses in this time, so we highly encourage you to jump on and make sure that you book your session. If we can all help you achieve something at this time, it means that we're all working together. Thank you for taking the time out today to listen to me. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully I've been able to provide you something of value, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you all face to face very soon.